Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us in today's virtual media meet and greet with our newly arrived Consul General. My name is Jos Ciano, the Consulate General's Information Officer, and I will be your host for this online activity. Just some housekeeping reminders before we get started. If you have any questions during the course of the program, please type them into the chat box, which can be found in your Zoom control panel. I'll bring them up during the open forum, and we will have Conjen answer them towards the end of the program. Also, please be informed that this online activity is being recorded. Now, without much ado, may I call on Deputy Consul General Ambo Enciso to formally introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank you very much, Joss. Good afternoon, mga kababayan and friends in the media. I have the honor to make a quick introduction of our new Consul General. Conjen flew into Los Angeles to assume his post here directly from Jeddah in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on the 6th of April, 2021. He served as Consul General of the Philippines in Saudi Arabia's Western region since February of 2018. Hailing from Bangued Abra, the Consul General graduated from the University of the Philippines College of Law, after obtaining his Bachelor of Arts degree from UP Baguio. He first joined the Department of Foreign Affairs in 1997, where he held various positions, including most recently as Director of the Political and Security Division of the Office of ASEAN Affairs. His other previous foreign assignments include the Philippine Consulate General in Toronto, the Consulate General in New York, and the Philippine Embassy in Bangkok, Thailand. Now, during his term as Conjen in Jeddah, the Consulate General there was conferred the Best Organization Award in the Foreign Service Post category by the Department of Foreign Affairs in June of 2019, which was a historic first. The following year, the same Consulate General in Jeddah also garnered a Best ranking in the Foreign Service Delivery Unit category, along with only 2 other Philippine Foreign Service posts. So mga binibini, ginang at ginoo, aking mga kaibigan, ikinararangal ko pong ipakilala sa inyo upang magbigay ng kanyang tahing mensahe si Consul General Edgar Badajos.
Maraming salamat, Ambo, my Deputy Consul General here at the Philippine Consulate General in Jeddah. Maraming salamat din, Jos, for moderating our meet and greet tonight with the members of the Filipino-American media in the southwestern part of California, or of the United States. I would like to thank our friends in the media, the Filipino-American community, for setting aside some of your time, despite your busy schedule, for this meet and greet tonight. Alam niyo, ako po ay dumating noong April 6 dito sa Los Angeles, direct from Jeddah, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, after spending some 3 years in that part of the world, serving also our fellow Filipinos in Jeddah and the entire western region of Saudi Arabia. And upon arriving here at the Philippine Consulate in Los Angeles, nakita ko po ang napakalaking potensyal na ating magagawa para natin lalong mapag-igi at mapagbuti ang tinatawag na delivery of consular services to Filipinos and Filipino-Americans under the Philippine Consulate's jurisdiction. I'm very excited to work with our friends in the Filipino-American media in serving the more than 1 million Filipinos under the consulate jurisdiction, and in also promoting the economic, political, and other interests of the Philippines in this part of the United States, in tandem with our embassy in Washington, and also in cooperation with the other agencies that are represented, Philippine government agencies that are represented here at the Philippine Consulate. A few days after I arrived, I already met with our ambassador, Ambassador Romualdez of the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C., and I discussed with him a number of projects that we can work on or together in further promoting Philippine national interests, and also in serving the Filipinos and Filipino-Americans under our jurisdiction. And I also met with the attached agencies here in Los Angeles, namely the Philippine Trade Office, the Philippine Labor Office, our Trade Office, the Police Liaison Office, and of course our SSS Representatives Office. And I challenge these trade agencies of ours to come up with initiatives to further enhance delivery of our services to Filipinos under our jurisdiction, and in also promoting our economic, cultural, and diplomacy work in this part of the United States. Um, for the information of everyone, we are present in Los Angeles and of course in the entire Southern California, in the state of Arizona, and in Southern Nevada. Under our jurisdiction, we have more than 1 million Filipinos and Filipinos overseas, and I'm excited to work with you in serving these fellow Filipinos and Filipino-Americans of ours. Noong dumating po ako, I'm also aware of the tremendous demand for more effective delivery of consular services to our Filipinos in this part of the United States. Ang pagkakalam ko po, nagkaroon ng breakdown in the appointment systems of the Philippine Consulate, kaya naman nagkaroon ng surge in demand for these services, including passport renewal, dual citizenship, and civil registry services. And mula ho nung ako'y dumating, I already spoke with my officers here and with our staff as to how we can further improve delivery of these services to Filipinos under our jurisdiction. At isa po sa mga napag-usapan namin ay lakihan ang bilang ng appointment slots both for passport application and dual citizenship. We also introduced what we would call Saturday consular services, during which time we offer passport services to Filipinos on 2 Saturdays of this month and 2 Saturdays of last month, and we fully intend to continue this Saturday services for the benefit of Filipinos under our jurisdiction. And with the reported opening of LA's economy and that of other states under our jurisdiction in the coming weeks and months, we fully intend to further expand the scope of our services by already rendering consular outreach programs in areas under our jurisdiction. In fact, on May 1 and 2, we are already scheduled to have our first consular outreach program in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that will be followed by another outreach program in the state of Arizona. And we are in close coordination with our fellow Filipinos in that state to identify the exact date and time of our consular outreach program in Arizona and in other states under our jurisdiction. I was also talking to our honorary consul, Odi de Castro, in San Diego last week, and I was already discussing with him the possibility also of conducting a consular outreach program in San Diego in the coming months. So we are on track to further expanding our consular services. Let me also touch a bit on this issue of racially motivated crimes against members of our community and members of the Asia Pacific community under our jurisdiction and in other parts of the United States. The Philippine Consulate stands in solidarity with our community and with other members of the Asia Pacific Islander community in addressing this problem. And we are closely coordinating with the local government agencies and with law enforcement authorities, requesting them to give priority action and attention to acts of violence committed against any member of our community. But of course, we are also urging members of our community to be very vigilant and to report any and all acts of violence committed against them or their neighbors or their property so that these can be properly addressed. We fully intend to expand the partnership of the Philippine Consulate with stakeholders so that we can more effectively address this increasing problem confronting our community. Finally, I wish to refer to one discussion that I had with Ambassador Romualdez a few days after I arrived from Jeddah, and this about our appeal to the U.S. government to finally allow the export of U.S. manufactured vaccines to the Philippines. We have already distributed letters to Filipino-American organizations under our jurisdiction and also to individuals asking for their assistance in appealing to their local, state, and federal leaders in appealing to the Biden administration so that the US government will finally allow the export of US manufactured vaccines to the Philippines. Hindi po tayo humihingi o namamalimos ng vaccine na ibigay sa Pilipinas. These were already paid for by the Philippine government, and all that we are asking is for the US government to finally allow the speedy and early release of these US manufactured vaccines to the Philippines. Sana ho sa mga kasama natin sa Filipino-American media, matulungan nyo kami in this appeal to the US government. Before I close, let me also inform our Filipino-American media that we are going to have another meet and greet with the larger Filipino-American community on Thursday of this week. And you are of course invited to also join that meet and greet meeting. So I hope that this first meeting between you and me will be the start of a fruitful and enduring relationship between the Philippine Consulate and the Filipino-American media in this part of the United States. And I look forward to working with you and getting to know you more. Maraming salamat po at magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Thank you very much. Back to you, Joss.
Thank you so much.
Na-mute siya. Okay.
Thank you very much, Conjen, for that very informative message. At this point, I will be calling on each media organization representative by name to briefly introduce themselves, their media organization, as well as some information on the work they do. Please be reminded that we are not yet in the Q&A portion. Any question you may wish to ask should be typed into the chat box to be read out later by me. At this point, what we want is to give you equal opportunity and time to say hi and introduce yourselves, Conj and Ed. When I call your name, you will be prompted on the screen to unmute. So please unmute yourselves. Okay, let me begin with, as I see on the screen, Mr. Much Carino.
Carino.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Good afternoon, Conjen. Thank you for the audience that you've given to the Filipino-American media. I'm with Spotlight TV, and I'm producer and founder of Spotlight TV that is aired every Friday on LA18 and simulcast on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you.
Nice meeting you po, Mr. Carino. Thank you very much for joining our meeting. Next, Joss. Nakamute si Joss.
Okay, may I now call on Mr. Andy Edralin?
Just in case.
Hi, magandang tanghali po, Conjen, and welcome to Los Angeles. My name is Andy Eberlin.
Thank you.
I'm with the Filipino-American Press Club of California. I'm one of the founders, and we've been existing since 2012, and we've been in the newspaper and social media, and we're here to help and support the Philippine Consulate General sa mga kailangan nyo when it comes to media and dissemination of information. Welcome again, Conjen.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Gerald Vista. Mr. Gerald Vista, are you here?
And hi, good morning from the Philippines. This is Gerald Vista. I'm with GMA Pinoy TV, and then I'm a digital marketing specialist. Uh, we welcome you, Conjen Ed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Miss Vernia Cañete.
Hi, good morning from the Philippines, and hello to Conjen Ed.
Morning, Verma.
Yes, welcome, and we're so nice to meet you today. As Gerald said, I'm with Gerald and the other members of GMA Pinoy TV. So it's the flagship international channel of GMA Network in the Philippines. And we're glad to be here and glad to meet you and glad to support all the initiatives of GMA Pinoy TV. So I'm the marketing manager of GMA Pinoy TV. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Verma. Nice meeting you.
Next, Miss Carol Mangalonso.
Hello. Good morning from the Philippines and good evening to LA. I'm Carol Magalonso from GMA Network, department of which is GMA International, the one who handles GMA Pinoy TV po. Welcome, Conjen Ed. We're so happy to get this chance to meet you virtual, and we hope we can be of partner to your campaigns and that you can also support us with our marketing initiatives for GMA Pinoy TV. Stay safe po and ingat po kayo dyan.
Maraming
Welcome
salamat po. Maraming salamat. Thank you.
Thank you so much. How about Miss May Trono?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Conjen Ed, and welcome po, welcome. And I am May Trona from GMA Pinoy TV. Just like what my teammates mentioned, we are based here in the Philippines, but we are so looking forward to be a partner, lalo na po sa mga Filipino community initiatives natin. And we will also be attending the meeting on the 23rd. So we hope to see you again. Thank you very much for this chance, and muli, we are looking forward po sa ating partnerships. Ingat po kayo dyan. Stay safe. Apo.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Joseph Jerome Francia.
Hi, good morning from the Philippines, Conjen. As you can see, our team is more than amply represented in welcoming you today. I think it speaks to the excitement our team has had over the last 13 months in lockdown, where we were able to strengthen our relationship with the Department of Foreign Affairs, consulates, and affiliated agencies in doing our best to respond to the needs of our countrymen, both here in the Philippines and abroad. As we all know, especially in your role now in Southern California, you have a very large constituency, and the concerns there of our countrymen reverberate not just in the whole of the US, but to all the relatives here in the Philippines. So I am very pleased. I was telling my team that you referenced a few of the issues that really are felt strongly by our countrymen. By that, I mean your mention about our appeal to the US government for vaccines, and then the many challenges as well of the Filipino-American community, including the recent attacks on the Asian American community, and so many other challenges. But this year we adopted this theme, Stronger Together. I think it's a perfect opportunity to connect and reconnect and affirm our partnerships and our desire to work with you and your team to better serve our community. Thank you po.
Maraming salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Mr. Josh Anduit. Please unmute yourself. Okay.
Hello, Conjen Ed. Welcome to Los Angeles. I'm Josh Anduit, and I do represent Polaris Media and also a radio station. I'm a radio personality now with PHLA, which is a radio station globally, and it has an online component and YouTube component as well, and PHLA. And also, I'm a YouTuber now too, with an 8,000 and growing subscribers.
Wow. Nice.
And they call me an influencer, and hopefully I could be of help to the Filipino-American community. And I'll be calling you one of these days to guest in the radio station, because I think a lot of our subscribers on that station are asking important things that you already touched on and mentioned earlier. And that's about it. And welcome again to the City of Angels.
Thank you very much, Josh. Nice meeting you. And thank you for the invitation.
Okay, now let's have Miss Clarice Medanilia. Please unmute yourself.
She can unmute.
Hi. Oh, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Hi, Conjen, and welcome to LA. Thank you for hosting this event. I always like working with the Philippine Consulate. I work at Asian Journal. I've been a staff writer there for about 5 years, and my coverage mainly focuses on Filipino-American culture and how to bridge the quite generational differences and gaps between Filipinos and Filipino-Americans. And yeah, Asian Journal, been around since 1991, one of the largest and most circulated Filipino media outlets, paper and online. And yeah, welcome to LA. Hope to, have events in person, not just over Zoom. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Now let's have Mr. Leonardo Arumin. Hi, sir.
Yes, kumusta?
Magandang hapon po.
Oh, naimbag nga malam nyo, Consul.
Hoy, pero Ilocano. Thank you po, thank you.
Magandang hapon po. At ako si Leonardo Arumin, ng publisher and owner of the only Filipino newspaper in Arizona, the Filipino-American Journal, established in 1998, and still here. And we're serving 73,000 Filipinos all over Arizona. At we're so glad and welcome you, Consul General. And by the way, hindi nakikita dyan, but here, nasa front page po kayo sa aming issue.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Arumin. Yes.
Of your assumption as the Consul General of the Philippine Consulate General Office in Los Angeles.
Thank you very much.
And hopefully, you could come over here kung i-allow na ng COVID-19 so we can gather together as one family. And I understand that your next outreach will be in May 22, 23rd or something like that. And we're looking forward to that, Conjen. And indeed, we're so glad to be of service to you likewise. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon sa inyo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arumin. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, let's have Ms. Lydia Solis. Please unmute yourself, ma'am.
Welcome, Conjen, to Los Angeles. We're very happy that we finally have Consul General in Los Angeles, and congratulations. Heard the first time in the Jeddah Consulate that you got the Best Organization Award in the Foreign Service post. And the following year, congratulations again for being the best ranked in Foreign Service.
Thank you very much.
I have been correspondent for Philippine News, which is now Philippine News Today since 1988. But because of the pandemic, I have done, I am contributing to other newspapers like Philippine Post, Weekend Balita, and US Asian Post. And you have been featured. I hope the Philippine Consulate is getting all those newspapers, but you have been also on the front pages of those newspapers. And again, welcome. I will have a question later about the consular services.
Thank you very
Welcome
much.
again, Conjen
Thank
Ed.
you. Thank you very much.
All right, now let's have Mr. or Miss MJ Racadio. MJ Racadio, please
Yes.
unmute yourself.
Yes. Can you hear me now, guys?
Yes.
All right. Mabuhay.
Mabuhay.
Yes, mabuhay. Welcome, Edgar, and naimbag nga malab. I'm also Ilocano.
Wow, nice.
Yes. And I've been to Banguit Abra. Beautiful.
Wow.
Well, yes. Yes, I am the pioneer and the creator of 75 Most Influential Filipino-American Sports since 2014. And I'm also the current officer of the Film Press Club as Public Relations Officer and a member of Los Angeles Press Club. And basically, my reach is about, with my network, I have about 20 million reach.
Wow.
Of audience. And I've been also part of the Miss Universe as official press. And I'm currently hosting the Blog Talk Hollywood, which is America's first film Hollywood entertainment podcasting show, which is finally home now in the Philippines. And also I do have this Blog Talk advocacy. So I would like to welcome you. Any ideas? You can be a guest in my blog to really know about our people in the Philippines. And so that's about it. And welcome to California or the United States of America.
Thank you very much, MJ.
Thank you so much, Mr. MJ. Now let's have Miss Thelma Sugay. Please unmute yourself.
Magandang gabi po sa inyo, Conjen. Thelma Aranda Sugay po. I'm the president of FAPCO. We've been around for a decade. Andy Edrelin here is the founder, together with Thelma Calabi, and we've been a community partner for all those years. So I'm glad to be of service and hopefully a partner of the consulate office. Let me know what you need po in terms of getting the vaccination to our home country, the Philippines, because as far as I know, we still have a few network connections here that might be able to expedite the delivery for our countrymen po. And I know talaga hong nangangailangan sila dyan. So maraming salamat po and we welcome you here.
Thank you very much.
Next, may I call on Miss Beng Suarez? Miss Beng, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself. Miss Beng Suarez. Miss Beng. Okay, maybe we will get back to her later. So now, now that almost everyone has been introduced, let me now read out the first question. So as mentioned earlier, you may type into your questions through our chat box. So for our first question, Conjen, do we have an online process of obtaining a Philippine passport?
Okay, that's a very interesting question, Joss. And actually, this question is at the back of the mind of so many Filipinos under the jurisdiction of the Philippine Consulate General in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, we don't have a passport application online. What we do is we ask our our clients to obtain an appointment online using our system, which is managed by the Department of Foreign Affairs. And the process in getting an appointment online through our website has to be done in person because of the need to, of course, fill out the information and later on for the capturing of their biometrics here at the Philippine Consulate. So that's the short response to your question, Joss. Let me relate this to what I stated earlier about obtaining appointments here at the Philippine Consulate. It's just that because of the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions, we can only accommodate so many applicants here at the Philippine Consulate at any given day. Kaya ho, ang numero ng ating appointment slots per day ay for the passport is limited to only 70 slots. And for dual citizenship, only 20 slots. For civil registry, only 10. And for other services, only 10. So nakikita niyo ho, very limited ang bilang ng mga slots na ating naibibigay, but only because of the COVID-19 restrictions. Kung kami ho ang masusunod, lahat ho ng kababayan natin, papupuntahin natin dito sa Philippine Consular ngayon para makapag-apply ng Philippine passport at ang dual citizenship. But then again, because of the COVID-19 restrictions, we cannot. We cannot. But as I said, with the gradual opening of the economy of Los Angeles in the coming weeks or months, probably, we should be able to expand our services by increasing the number of slots available to the public. So watch out for an announcement that we'll be making shortly about this expansion of our consular services. Back to you, Joss.
Thank you so much, sir. We have here another question, sir, from GMA Pinoy TV.
Okay.
What is your first course of action in your first 100 days in the office?
Oh, that's a very challenging question. First 100 days, the honeymoon period usually between the media and any organization for that matter. Well, as I mentioned in my earlier statement, I met with our ambassador, Ambassador Romualdez, and we discussed about getting the support of the Filipino community under our jurisdiction, both organizations and individuals, in urging the U.S. government to finally allow the release and or export of U.S. manufactured vaccines to the Philippines. Kulang po tayo ng vaccine sa Pilipinas, and as you can see in the news, the number of vaccine cases in the Philippines is rising. Dumadami ho, and we badly need more vaccines. We have already paid for these vaccines in the US, but for some reason, their export and release to the Philippine government is still being held up. And so what we are doing now, as one of the first course of action that I've taken when I assumed here as the Philippine Consul General here in Los Angeles, is to approach members of our community, both organizations and individuals, to write their local, state, and federal leaders and appeal to them to in turn ask the Biden administration to finally allow the export of vaccines to the Philippines. Another thing that I've done in my first few days in Los Angeles is to meet with the attached agencies, meaning the Philippine Trade Office, the Philippine Labor Office, the SSS, and the Police Liaison Office, and ask them to come up with initiatives to further enhance our cultural, economic, and diplomacy efforts here in California, in other states under our jurisdiction, and for them to also join us in our consular outreach programs, so that they can introduce themselves also to our communities and talk about their programs and activities, and to help us in further engaging our Filipinos so that they can in turn make recommendations and contribute more to nation building. Yun at ating mga nagawa. And also, thirdly, I already spoke with my officers here on the possibility of increasing the number of slots that we are currently making available for passport appointment and dual citizenship and civil registry services. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you so much, Conjen. We have your question from Mr. Gerald Vista. He asks, how can your office be of help to our kababayans who might be victims of hate crimes?
Okay. Isa po yan sa mga ginawa kong action when a few days after I arrived here. We came up with a public advisory and also a personal statement from me urging any member of our community that if they're going to experience or witness any hate crime, for them not to hesitate to report it to the Philippine Consulate so that we can in turn call upon local government officials and law enforcement authorities so that these can be given priority action and attention. And of course, tayo din sa Philippine Consulate, we know of some resources that can be availed of by our kababayans who may be victims of racially motivated hate crimes, sources that can be like for purposes of legal representation or counseling, so that we can help them in all these areas. So yan ho ang mga ilang action na nagawa natin in regard to this issue.
Okay, sir, thank you. We have here a question from Ms. Lydia Solis. She asks, you mentioned that you plan to increase the number of consular service appointment slots. My question is, authentication of public documents is now being handled by the Secretary of State Office. Are you planning to bring back authentication of those documents to the Philippine Consulate General?
Okay, ginagawa pa rin ho natin yan. Kapag ho hindi makapunta dito mismo yung ating kababayan sa Philippine Consulate, they can bring the document to a notary public, and then yung dokumento na yan aakyat sa Secretary of State for authentication of the notary public signature, and then pupunta ho na dito sa konsulado yung dokumento after. Philippines na pala yon, diretso na daw yon. Hindi na dito sa hindi na dito, diretso na. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to learn the ropes kasi ilang linggo pa lang ho ako dito. But yun ho ang sinasabi sa akin, nandyan pa rin ho ang serbisyo na yan, Miss Lydia. Hindi naman kailangan dalhin pa rin lahat dito sa Philippine Consulate yung mga serbisyo na yan, lalo na kung mahirap pumunta dito sa Philippine Consulate sa Los Angeles because of COVID-19 restrictions.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. We have here another question, which asks, I understand that the consulate is scheduling an outreach in Arizona at the end of May. Can the consulate schedule other schedules in Arizona for remaining months of 2021? Thank you.
You know, in fact, yan ho ang sinabi ko sa aking mga opisyales dito when I first came in. I wanted to really plot out our schedule of outreach programs for the rest of the year. Gusto kong gawing monthly ang aming paglabas dito sa Jeddah dahil alam namin nahihirapan ang mga kababayan natin na nasa Arizona, nasa Southern Nevada at sa ibang bahagi ng Los Angeles para ho pumunta, ibang bahagi ng California, Southern California para pumunta dito sa Philippine Consulate sa Los Angeles. So we intend to increase the number of our outreach programs, and we will be starting with the first outreach program in Las Vegas, as I said, on May 1 and 2, followed by another outreach in Arizona, dito sa lugar ni Mr. Arumin. So I look forward to meeting you in person, Mr. Arumin, and maraming salamat for that issue of your newspaper featuring myself as the new Consul General or Consulate here in Los Angeles. And then yung mga ibahong lugar, what I would like for our community leaders to do is to get in touch with the consulate, with my Deputy Consul General, with my secretary here, and let us know of the dates when you would like for us to be present in your area to render consular services. Gagawin na ho natin ang ating buong calendar hanggang matapos ang buong 2021. Dahil nakikita natin medyo nagluluwag na rin ang mga ibang states under our jurisdiction, so that therefore we can now go in person and render consular services. So please, I encourage you to get in touch with the Philippine Consulate. Sabihin nyo sa amin, ano ba ang gusto nyo mga araw at petsa kung kailan nyo kami gustong pumunta dyan so that we can schedule our consular outreach program in our area. For example, in San Diego, I was talking to our honorary consul, Mr. Odi De Castro, and I already asked him to please help us identify the date and the time and the venue of our next program in San Diego. Dahil alam namin, marami din pong naghihintay nating mga kababayan doon na medyo nahihirapang pumunta dito sa Los Angeles. Ganon din ang gagawin natin sa Southern Nevada at sa Arizona. So with your help, Mr. Arumin, please let us know ano ba ang pinakamagandang araw kung kailan kami pwedeng pumunta dyan. And please help us in identifying the venue of our consular outreach program. And we would like that venue to be quite spacious para ho mas marami tayong makababayan ang makakapag-avail ng ating mga serbisyo.
Thank you, sir. This one, sir, this is not a question, but I have been requested to read it out. It says that I would like to highly commend Deputy Consul General Ambo, Consul Dayan, and the other consuls and everyone at the Philippine Consulate in Los Angeles for their exemplary holding the fort while waiting for Conjen Ed's arrival. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Josh.
Maraming salamat, Josh, for that very encouraging statement for our fellow officials here. In fact, before I came here, when I first learned from the Department of Foreign Affairs that I'm being assigned to the Los Angeles Consulate, I knew that I would be working with a very competent and able team, comprising, of course, of our Deputy Consul General Ambrosio Enciso, Consul Dayan, Vice Consul Macris Corrado, who is now currently in the Philippines for some family concerns. I knew that I'll be working with a very competent team, and I am confident that with their support and cooperation, we will also be able to have a successful run in this part of the United States. Ang sinasabi ko palagi sa mga kababayan natin that if ever our tour of duty is going to be successful somehow, it is not because of myself or my efforts alone, but it's because of our teamwork. And teamwork begins, of course, with the very people who are immediately working with you and for you in serving the Filipino community under our jurisdiction. That is also what happened at the Philippine Consulate in Jeddah. I wouldn't have been successful were it not for the support of my fellow officers, and of course, most importantly, the support of the Filipino community and the Filipino media. Kayo ho yan. Napakahalaga ho ang inyong role at kinagampanan sa ating community. You keep us on our toes. You make us work all the time. Kayo ho ang tumitingin at magsasabi sa amin kung ang aming bang ginagawa ay tama o medyo namamali na. So you help us really do better and further improve our services. So maraming salamat ho sa inyong ibibigay na suporta at tulong sa amin. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Conjen. This question naman po from Mr. Much Carino. Can we schedule a one-on-one interview with you in our Spotlight TV on Saturday, May 1 or May 2 or anytime next week via Zoom or StreamYard? Or do you prefer an in-person or virtual interview?
Maganda ho sana yung in-person interview kapag ho talagang pwede na. But unfortunately, on May 1 and 2, we will be in Las Vegas, Nevada for our outreach program for our communities there. Now, regarding this person-to-person personal interview or virtual interview, we really welcome these activities. Why? Because this is the best way by which we can really disseminate information to Filipino communities under our jurisdiction. For example, yung binanggit ni Mr. Racadio kanina na meron siyang almost 20 million following. Napakaganda ho yan because if and when we talk to you and you disseminate information through your program, then more of our fellow Filipinos will understand really what we are doing at the Philippine Consul. I think that most of the misunderstanding springs from lack of knowledge and information about what is it really that we are doing, what are our limitations, and the many programs that we're doing. Nagsisimula dyan sa lack of understanding eh. Kaya gusto ko sana talagang magkaroon tayo ng pagkakataon na makausap ang ating mga kababayan through your programs, through your newspapers, para maipaliwanag natin sa kanila ano ba talaga ang ginagawa at ang mga limitasyon ng ating konsulado. We are no Superman. We cannot do everything and anything you want for us to do. We have limitations, and that is what I would like to explain to you. Regarding consular service, for example, ang dami hong puna, ang daming criticism. Bakit limited ang slot na binibigay ng Philippine Consulate para sa passport appointment, para sa dual citizenship, para sa civil registry, and other services? Alam niyo ho, kung pwede lang, lahat ng kababayan natin papuntahin sa Los Angeles ngayong araw para sila ay mapagsilbihan, gagawin na namin. But we cannot. And we cannot because of limitations by the local government for health and safety reasons. We cannot because of the very limited space that we have at the Philippine Consulate, and we cannot because of fear of infection. Dahil meron pa rin tayong pandemic because of the COVID-19. But really, with your support, our friends in the Philippine media, we hope to be able to make ourselves more closer to our community, so that they can better understand the services that we are offering to them and the limitations as we deliver these services. So I would welcome these requests for interviews, and really I appreciate your offering this platform for us to be able to explain more to our communities. Thank you.
Okay, sir, thank you so much. Next, we have here another question, sir. Over the last couple of years, and especially in the wake of recent attacks against the greater Asian community, many Gen Z and millennial Filipino-Americans feel emboldened to embrace their Filipino heritage. What do you plan to do with the consulate to reach out to younger Filipino-Americans who are interested in the culture and in the Philippines?
Yeah, nabanggit kanina ni Clarice Medanilla yan, ano, yung bridging the generational divide or gap between first generation, second generation, even third generation of Filipino-Americans. Marami ho tayong pwedeng gawin at gustong gawin para to further strengthen the connection between the Philippine Consulate, the Philippine government, and our country in general, and this generation of Filipino-Americans. I know that they're so eager, really, to help our country. This is a big pool of talent and resources that I think is still untapped. Kaya gusto kong makipag-usap sa kanila. I'd like to have a dialogue with them sooner or later, and to listen to them how they wish to really be of greater help to the Philippine Consulate and to our government on nation building. Alam ko marami silang ideas, and they're just waiting to be approached by the Philippine Consulate. And in fact, I've already talked to my cultural section here, and I've asked them to come up with programs that will involve more and more our second and third generation of Filipino-Americans in our upcoming activities, especially those that are culturally related. So marami ho yan. And so I'd like for them to watch out for future announcements from the Philippine Consulate, because they can expect more activities from us that will involve them more extensively in nation building, in the area of promoting our culture, in the area of economic diplomacy, and even political and security diplomacy. Matatalino ho sila at marami silang idea. So what I'd like really to do initially is for me and the Philippine Consulate to listen to them, to their ideas.
Okay, Conchen, thank you. We have here another question from FAPCA. How may we help you address your concern about the delivery of US-made vaccines? Is there a particular officer or politician we need to reach out to resolve this? Perhaps you can explain the details of the contract and what was promised to our baby and in terms of delivery. Have they explained the reason of holding it up?
Maraming salamat, Telma, for the offer to assist us in this advocacy. Hindi ho natin alam kung ano ba ang dahilan kung bakit hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa rin pinapayagan na mai-deliver yung kabuuan ng ating mga nabayaran na US manufactured vaccines. All we know is that our government, through the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C., and through the Philippine consulates, our government is requesting the US government to facilitate and to already direct the export at the earliest opportunity of US manufactured vaccines, because Filipinos back home are dying because of the shortage of vaccines. Ano ho ang ating hinihingin tulong sa inyo? Simple lang ho. For you, the media, for Filipino individuals, and for Filipino-American organizations and Philippine organizations to write to your local officials, to your state officials, to your county officials, and even federal officials, and to appeal to them to in turn ask the Biden administration to finally allow the export of US manufactured vaccines to the Philippines. We have already we already have a draft letter that we have been distributing to like-minded individuals and organizations, and we can share this letter to you. Let us know where we can send it so that you can in turn adopt this letter and send it to your county, local, and state officials, and even federal officials. That will make our appeal even stronger. Yun ho ang ating tulong na hiningi. Who at the Philippine Consulate should you approach? Pwede nyo hong lapitan ang aking Deputy Consul General Brian Enciso or si Consul Dayan Pastrana for a copy of that letter, or what you can do is to give us your email address so that we can send copies of the letter to you. Maraming salamat.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. We still have here, okay, last two more questions, Conjen. We have here, I think this is from Mr. Andy. The guilty verdict for Derek Cahubin just came out for the George Floyd's case. Would the consulate come out with a stand regarding this, since the case is almost akin to the Asian hate crime?
Ano ho yan? We were actually closely monitoring the trial and the issuance of the verdict earlier today, and we are happy and that what came out of that trial seems to be the best outcome that could possibly come out of it. It would seem that the majority of our American friends are quite satisfied with the decision. I think that it has averted or avoided a possible outbreak of renewed violence because of this incident. We will work closely with our home office as to how we should react to this development, because we know that this is some kind of an incident that may best be left for our American counterparts to deal with. But of course, it is related to the hate crimes that is now really hugging the headlines. Hate crimes being committed against communities of color. And what we are always saying is that we should be ready to cooperate always with local government officials and with law enforcement authorities in addressing this problem. Earlier, we are actually planning to issue an advisory, just cautioning our fellow Filipinos under our jurisdiction to take extra precautions ahead of the issuance of this decision. But now that it is out, I guess what we can do is to continue monitoring the situation and see how it turns out.
Okay, thank you again, Conjen. We now have our last question, again from Ms. Telma Sugay. She asks, Conjen, during your visit to Vegas, are you personally meeting with leaders? I'm also part of NAPA Vegas and might be able to see in by, especially if you would be open to a safely distanced person-to-person video discussion as part of my Pinay Insight segment for Spotlight TV po.
Yun pong aming Vegas outreach ay mukhang meron po tayong nakahanda na program na ginagawa na ng ating mga Filipino-American community leaders and members in Las Vegas. And I think there's going some kind of a dialogue also with them. I will have to check with Consul Dayan Pastrana on the specifics of this program that is being prepared for us by the Filipino-American community in Las Vegas. And from what I know, we are also going to meet with state officials regarding some employment concerns, and also with a group of Filipinos who are working in Las Vegas, because I think they have some problems with which they would like for the Philippine Consulate to be of assistance to them. So meron po tayong mga program na nakahanda, but Ms. Telma, if there's something that we can do together, please let us know ahead of our departure for Las Vegas, then maybe we can look into it too.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I think that's all, sir, I hope I was able to cover all the questions. I hope I was able to read them out. Okay. So this is all the time that we have this evening. Again, thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who will be publishing or posting something regarding this virtual event, we would appreciate it if you could share it with us through lapcg.political.economic@gmail.com. This email address is on your chat box now. Also, as announced by the Consul General, please be reminded that we will have a virtual meet and greet with Phil-Am community on Thursday, 22 April 2021. Should you wish to participate in this activity, you may refer to our announcement posted on our official Facebook page and website. The registration link is now available on the chat box as well. Okay, so I'll be giving you some time to copy-paste those information. Okay, so muli po, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat sa pagdalo dito sa ating virtual activity. At sa ngalan po ni Consul General Badajos, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. We will now end this meeting. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.